Right now, current AI legislation is drastically out of sync with the reality of emerging AI risks. An April 2026 assessment mapped over 1,000 AI governance documents from the Agora dataset, categorizing them across 6 specific taxonomies to see exactly what governments are doing. The data reveals a clear pattern. Global governance is highly concentrated on general model safety and downstream deployment, while leaving early-stage data collection and socioeconomic impacts largely untouched. This chart shows the coverage level of risk subdomains. Regulatory attention is heavily concentrated on model safety, dominated by security vulnerabilities, privacy, and transparency. Looking at the bottom rows, however, socioeconomic impacts like economic devaluation and emerging multi-agent risks receive almost zero legislative attention. This chart maps the technical scope mentioned in governance documents. There is a massive spike for broad terms like AI systems, while specific, high-risk categories like frontier AI and open-weight models barely register. Regulating AI using only generic definitions creates a blind spot. It restricts the ability to effectively enforce downstream liability on specific high-risk systems with dual-use potential. This chart shows the proportion of documents targeting specific industry sectors. Public administration and scientific R&D dominate the top, while consumer-facing and labor-intensive sectors like food service and real estate sit largely unregulated at the bottom. This chart tracks which AI lifecycle stages are governed. Nearly 80% of the documents specifically target the downstream deploy and operate and monitor phases. In contrast, the earlier collect and process data phase is covered by roughly half that amount. Based on this timeline, current legislation acts primarily as a late-stage filter for public institutions, rather than an early-stage safeguard for everyday workers and consumers. This chart displays the legislative status of the analyzed documents. While the overwhelming majority are legally binding hard law, exactly 43% of those hard laws are already defunct. This chart counts documents by actor entity type and their assigned role. Public governance actors are exclusively assigned to monitor and enforce, while developers and deployers bear the overwhelming burden of compliance targets. This enforcement dynamic drives rapid, reactive policy turnover, focused strictly on developer compliance, falling short of a stable, cumulative governance framework. These findings reflect a dataset heavily weighted toward English-language U.S. federal documents, rather than a true global consensus. The analysis also identified an LLM over-attribution bias. Automated classifiers often falsely assume a formal risk framework exists simply because a document includes a generic term like oversight. The next step is cross-referencing this governance data against real-world AI incidents to pinpoint exactly where these regulatory gaps cause actual harm. Subscribe to Learn by Doing with Stephen and the Stephen Data Talk podcast for deeper analysis on these AI policy gaps.